Hi, I'm Ulysses,
And I'm James.
and this is Comics Odyssey, and today we're going to dive right in to the question number one. Now, we did our inaugural episode on the question number 14 from this series, and we were so blown away that we decided that we would do more exploration into this series. So, James, did you get a chance to read this one?
No, I have not. I wasn't able to get out and check it out today.
Okay, so we'll be discovering this in real time here.
That's right.
So, first impressions on this cover, what do you think?
Very, very cool. It describes a story that's story oriented. You can tell that the central figure is the question without a face. And he looks like he's in an orb with that question mark sort of smoke coming out.
Hmm.
What makes me think of like an oracle. He's something that pursues answers.
Right. It's a Bill Sienkiewicz painting.
Wow.
Um, the question number 14 was Dennis Cowan. Most of the other covers are Dennis Cowan pencils with Sienkiewicz inks, but this is a Sienkiewicz painting. We do see some of the characters from the story in here. I believe this is Lady Shiva, kind of a different interpretation of Lady Shiva. And I like the geometric, it's almost like a fashion illustration in a way. It reminds me of.
Yeah, I see it.
And he's got this gunfire here. Uh, so yeah, the first issue of the question from 1987. This was hot on the heels of The Dark Knight and Watchmen, who had been uh, essentially declared home runs, right? These were already hot items at that point. And the opener by Richard Bruning, I don't know who he is. He doesn't seem to be an editor or anything. I'm not sure who he is, but he does mention that and laments the state of the comics industry, like the sales are bad, and he's pointing to the limited series of Watchmen and Dark Knight as successes and maybe a possible way for the industry to evolve into limited series, which is a little bit odd to put at the front of the launch of an ongoing series.
Wow.
um, yeah, it's funny because you know, uh, 40 years later, we're still mulling over these ideas, right? Mulling over these problems of comic sales and limited series and all that sort of thing.
It seems to me, I don't know how much there's to back this up, but it seems like the limited series prop up sales initially, but it's the ongoing issues that keep the long-term customers. You got to find a right way to do it. And that one of the problems Marvel is experiencing is that X-Men went from having, 400 or something consecutive issues to now they rarely have more than 16, and they just started getting issue one, and there's this endless series of just sort of, to me, looks like, kind of like shallow slop. You're not really developing characters over a long period of time. It's over a period of a year at most.
Yeah. Well, the ongoing is the thing that keeps readers hooked month after month after month, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So even if you've got a few dud issues in there, they've got a reason to come back. They develop kind of brand loyalty towards certain characters or teams of characters. It's funny because we got a plan to do a Crisis on Infinite Earths, and I found someone who wrote their dissertation on Crisis and on Infinite Earths, and how it affected the market. And they talk a lot about like brand loyalty and that sort of thing. So I'm sure we'll be hitting on that at that point.
Cool.
Before we jump into the story, I want to remind people that we are available on Substack, YouTube, and Spotify. Wherever you find this, please hit a like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and Substack, and we're pretty close. So please tell people about this, what I think is a pretty cool show, and I hope you do too. The story's called The Bad News, and we've got the team established here. We saw in number 14, same exact team, no change. So it's just, stable series here. And we have our illustrious question, basically doing a stakeout of these criminals here.
Can you remind me for a second who the team is? The artist, the inker, the writer?
We've got Dennis O'Neill on writing duties, and Dennis Cowan, the penciler.
Yeah.
I read up on Dennis Cowan and how he got the job. It seemed to be like pretty much he was available. So we're lucky that we got him on this book. It could have been anybody else, but because we got him on this book, it's awesome. Rick Magyar on inks, letters and colors, Gasper, and Tatiana Wood. Wow, we got a letterer who goes by a single name. That's pretty prestigious lettering. And then
Seriously.
editor, Mike Gold.
Thank you. Nice.
Yeah, so the captions essentially read like a pulp noir thing. He's been waiting a while now, listening to the hiss of tires on the wet pavement and the drone of voices from inside the small building. Curses, mutters, an occasional bark of laughter. It's got that noirish feel.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, they lean into the noir thing into this series. Yeah, but what's interesting here is that it establishes that he's from Hub City, which is different from the previous series. Ditko, he's not living in an established city. He gives the date, and he says he's got 25 hours, 15 minutes to live. That's the
Nice.
first line. So right away we're establishing tension, and you're thinking, I don't get it. They're going to kill the character on the first issue. How's he going to get out of it? Okay. And it establishes that he's quite reckless. He kind of doesn't care if he's going to die or not. He's just there to crack some skulls, which he will do.
The first page does nice with the noir feeling as well. The guy with the trench coat and the hat and the rain, and it's all either black or blue with color in the background, but none of it touches him.
So as I was showing you before we got on, I pulled out the first full story of the question in Mysterious Suspense. This is Steve Ditko, the creator of the character. This is my beater copy, so I can read without having to worry about the condition of the book. And he is, suit and tie, kind of 50s sensibility here, right? And it's interesting that they kind of de-business, like they give him less of a business look, whereas here he's dressed that way because that is his business attire from his day job as a TV reporter. Whereas here they kind of lean into the noir trench coat archetype.
Mm-hmm.
We might go back and forth and compare here. This is kind of interesting. There's two sets of dialogues going here while we hear the criminals talk. They have the radio on, talking about the TV reporter Vic Sage. Who is this guy? And he's reporting on the evidence of widespread civic corruption. So it's establishing his motivation for being there.
Hmm.
So, uh, yeah, basically, like, starts dispatching these guys, and we see a mysterious figure here, kind of looking on, spectating, not getting involved, because she despises violence.
Okay.
They try to remove his mask, but can't. It's stuck. And then he keeps beating on them. And again, she's not a fan of the violence, but she is spectating it. So he gets this guy to talk because he's looking for this tape. We don't know what's on the tape at this point, but he does get a VCR tape. Remember VCR?
State of the art.
Remember that tracking button?
Hmm. Yeah, I saw a good stand-up bit recently about how mine was one of the last rewind generations.
Mm.
People today don't have the burden of having to rewind a thing you watch.
Yeah, or the shame you felt when you were bringing back a tape you knew you didn't rewind.
Yeah, yeah. Some places had an extra fee, like an extra $1.
Yeah,
They had to rewind
yeah,
for you.
yeah. Remember that? They even it was became such a cultural faux pas to not rewind that they were selling rewinding machines.
We had a VCR that rewound. If you got to the end of the tape automatically, it rewound for you.
It might have been that the video store had one
Hmm.
because they had to rewind so many tapes. So anyway, the guy says, "Who are you?" You know, and this is a good series of expressions. He's like, "What the heck?" Question mark. She says, "You're half right." And here he gets into the question mobile, which is a red VW bug.
Nice.
And he releases a gas which changes the color of his clothing and presumably his hair. They say that in dialogue, but the colorist took him a few issues to catch up on that detail. But yeah, you kind of have to buy into the conceit that it's a little bit of like a Clark Kent thing where glasses is enough to conceal your identity. Whereas, like, I feel if I'm gonna report on a guy in a blue suit, I'm not gonna like distinguish between aqua and regular blue, right? Like, it just be blue, right?
Yeah, but having facial features or not is a pretty strong disguise.
Yeah, big time, big time. He speeds by the police officers. Because he's late for work as a TV reporter. And they're like, where is this guy? And it's established his personality is pretty rough here. So his boss says, "Do you know what time it is?" And he responds with, "Time for all idiots to die. Better make out your will."
Whoa.
So I think this is a bit of a conversation with this guy, because in here, Steve Ditko writes a character who's quite righteous and who's uncompromising and intransigent, as if those are, unquestioningly virtuous things to be.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
And it comes across like he's kind of a dick. I wonder if he's like, well, let's just make him a dick. All right.
Yeah, I hear you. It also would
Um,
have been the 80s, so maybe the editor was telling him to put some teeth into the character too.
could be that too. Yeah, like as a response to like the grit that became a commercial success.
Yeah.
Anyway, he starts reporting on the corruption and starts making allegations towards guy who's the on the board of education.
Oh
And
shit.
so he says he gives the tape that he acquired through, assault and battery to the producer of the show, and he says, "Run this." And it's the guy who's on the board of education and who's like caught like snorting coke and cutting backroom deals.
Nothing like today.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, he says this whole thing stinks. The whole city stinks. The whole political slugs stink. Everything stinks. So to me, I was trying to think of an analog, like in media these days, of somebody like that, and he would be maybe like an Alex Jones character, Project Veritas, Michael O'Keefe.
Yeah. Or maybe that Cenk Uygur, whatever his name is from the Young Turks.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. Like he would be yeah, kind of a uh, abrasive commentator.
Hmm. A journalist compared to a reporter. A reporter
Right.
should just be by and provide you with the facts. This is what happened on this date at this location.
Hmm.
Where a journalist would add the qualitative sort of script or narrative to their view of what happened on whatever instance.
He would editorialize.
That's right. Yeah.
So we're cutting to some of these people that do these, blackmail, that are corrupt. We have the standing mayor, the current mayor. Uh, he's a Furman. I can't remember his name. Um, Wesley Furman. And we have Reverend. I'm so bad with I can't never remember the names. Anyway, it's established that the mayor's pretty much like just alcoholic, uh, pickled, dumb person who's not really in charge. Um, but it's this guy who's sort of pulling the strings behind the scenes here with his criminal organization, and he's a priest, or at least he's got the garb of a priest.
Nice.
And we return to Lady Shiva, who's kind of explained her ambiguous role in this. She's just basically violence for hire and nothing more. She's not involved in all this. She will just do the violence she has been hired to do, and that is that. Yeah. Like she says, I was not requested to protect a videotape.
Yeah. Okay.
So they start questioning, like, how did this guy on the TV, because they're watching the TV report and realizing the lid's being blown. How did he know where the tape was? And so they suspect this guy from tipping him off. So they start ganging up on this guy, and they have um, a character here who's kind of the mob the mob assassin. They call him Baby Gun,
Okay.
who likes to get in close. He uses a small caliber gun just to do the job because he gets in close anyway and he just blows this guy's head off. Um,
Wow.
Plus, the gun is quiet, so they establish this kind of this guy's got a specialty, and he eats a lot of candy bars too.
Nice touch.
Mm. And here we go to the relationship between Myra Furman and Vic Sage. And so we assume that Myra Furman is related to Wesley Furman, but it's kind of gross because he says he finds her attractive. So we don't know what the relationship is, but one is implied.
Yeah, it isn't. That's quite an implication.
Anyway, she's like, notices that he's got blood on his knuckles and how did that happen? And it's somewhat implied that she may or may not know kind of what's going on.
The layouts are getting more dynamic, even just this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
To zoom into the guy's face, he's nervous and sweating.
Mm-hmm.
The use of color of all red.
Yeah, that's definitely a trick of the colorist that comes back in the later issues. He takes off. He's got to stop the mate, and we meet Aristotle Roeder, who is kind of the Question's Alfred in a way.
An
He's
assistant.
the guy. Yeah, roommate. He's the guy who does the gadgets. So he says, the mask has been slipping off, and he tests it, and he finds out, well, it's because you've been smoking. You should cut back.
Huh. Wait, he smokes with a mask on?
Yeah, he's a smoker. We see here he's smoking here.
Yeah, I thought the mask covered his mouth and everything. I guess it couldn't, or he'd just suffocate.
Yeah, he smokes as a regular, like as a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
So the repartee here is all they're quoting like works of philosophy towards each other. So it's established a kind of a heady thing going on here. And this is also just delivery for, the character's gimmick. He releases gas. Why are we going to see this? How he sees through the mask, which is done in the original series. Here we see, just kind of a montage of how the thing works, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Instead, here it's like weaved into the actual plot of the book. And they discuss philosophy a lot, and I do wonder if that's because Steve Ditko is known as a quite staunch objectivist, which is Ayn Rand's libertarian philosophy or whatever it is. I'm not a philosopher, but my guess is they thought, well, let's make him a philosopher, but have him be familiar with the landscape of philosophy, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's uncommon.
A lot of this is Roeder is kind of the question's conscience, kind of saying, listen, I know why you get out there. You say you're going after crime, but I think you just want to bust heads because you have trauma. You need the danger, the excitement, the adrenaline surge. As an addict needs the needle, one day it will kill you. This need.
Nice.
So Vic Sage meets up with a bum for some information, like on the underworld, basically. And a security guard or cop comes out after Vic gives him some money, kind of tries to shoot him, and Vic's doesn't take kindly to it, starts beating up on the cop. As that happens, a shot is fired, which hits the cop. This guy takes off running. The murderer, Vic Sage, catches up to him and says, "I know that bullet was meant for me. Why were you trying to kill me?" And he says, "Your pal without the face." Um, he copped the tape from me. Figured if I offed you, that would make me even with the boss.
Wait, didn't he get shot?
It's a different guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Got a different haircut. That's how to distinguish him. But it's only in partial panels, so you can't really tell. Like this guy's got a widow's peak. So anyway, well, they were gonna hurt you, but he says, "I'll do the job for them." Starts beating on
Definitely
them.
chaotic good type of character.
Mm-hmm. When he drops off this guy to the cops, kind of like, takes the piss out of the cops. I'm doing your job for you. He says, the cop says, "If you're so smart, why don't you join the force?" "They wouldn't let me. I passed the IQ test," he responds.
Nice.
So he's real kind of rough. Like he's just an unpleasant character. I find the balance is good. He's unpleasant to the people in this story, but he's not unpleasant to us, the reader.
Mm-hmm.
He pays visit. Jeremiah Hatch, Reverend Jeremiah Hatch. That's the guy. So he pays a visit to the guy. I can't remember how he figured out that he was involved. I would have to read all the dialogue again, but he figures out how this guy's involved, and this Jeremiah, Oh no, he's working at the same TV station. That's what it is. And the Jeremiah Hatch is actually delivering a sermon on TV, and we have the origin of Jeremiah Hatch when he served in Vietnam and came to see too much, and he was quite distraught at all of it. And it seems to be implied that he kind of renounces his faith, but he remains a reverend. So I'd have to reread these dialogues more carefully to kind of get the idea. Maybe he's become a servant of himself, or he's specifically decided to serve the devil or something like that. Stricken with the suffering, the savagery of human life. On that day I changed forever. For does not the book say that no man can serve two masters? And he throws his cross away. So it's kind of implying he's gone to the dark side in a way.
He still serves a master, but it's not aiming upwards.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, TV guy says, "Very inspiring, Reverend." So the homeless guy that gave Vic some information meets with one of the criminals that originally Vic beat on, right? The guy in the wife beater here, and it's revealed that he got paid to give dummy information to Vic Sage. They're trying to set him up.
Nice.
He tries to make a pass at Lady Shiva, and she threatens to break every bone in his body in a particularly painful way. So she turns away his advances. Vic here is aware that it's going to be a setup, but he's gonna go check it anyway, right? Uh, he wants somebody he can drag in front of a camera and wring the truth from. Right?
Okay.
He says maybe the mayor himself.
Those are really nice layouts. There's a lot of close-ups.
Mm-hmm.
It's moody, it's gritty, it gets across the impression. The color use is nice. It's always blue.
Generally, the camera is at eye level. He just comes in and out for
Yeah.
mid shots, and here and there he'll do a bit of a funky angle, but it has a TV feel because of that, because the camera stays eye level.
I think it does a good job at promoting the character focus, you know?
Mm-hmm.
We were looking at that Action Comics #5, and there was a lot of long shots, and it was showing the story was a lot about the action happening and the conflict in the environment. The scales of consequence were like, this is more character based, like you were saying before. There's philosophy involved, there's psychology involved. The conflict's internal more, like it's the struggle of man versus man, whereas Superman was the struggle of man versus nature kind of thing. And I think the format shows it well.
Well, we have the book. This particular issue is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's establishing a lot of story elements, right? First, we have to establish who Vic Sage is. We have to establish who he is now, because now that he's in the DC universe as opposed to in Charlton Comics, right? And we have to establish the corruption in the city and its details, like how it's mechanically it works. We have to establish his relationship with Myra Furman. We're establishing Lady Shiva, which is coming later, right? And it has to tell the story of this episode, which is the videotape and uncovering that corruption there. So it's just doing a lot of things. It's
Yeah, no, smoothly, I think, though.
yeah, absolutely. There's no feeling of rushing or anything. It's just it keeps moving at a regular pace, and every few pages there's a bit of action to keep you engaged, to ramp up the stakes. It's good stuff.
It is a comic book too, after all. I mean, it's got to appeal to young guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is a bit on the experimental side, but it is a superhero comic. I mean, it's DC Comics, right?
Yeah.
We're not.
You gotta have punches the nose is a high currency in comic books.
So he shows up at this setup place. It's established that the weather's cold and snowing. It's a snowstorm. There's more character work here in the dialogue, which is very good. Reverend Hatch kind of like the mayor's kind of saying like, what's the plan here? And he says, we're gonna offer him a deal. And he's like, well, what if he doesn't take the deal? He's like, well, we'll try, but if not, there will be consequences, right? And Hatch gets out of the car and says, "Go to your television and your bottles and your dreams. I shall deal with the ugliness of the world and of the flesh, for is that not my calling?" So you
Ace. No,
got
you're
a
good.
no,
Fill it in.
yeah, it's cool. It's a noir priest who's kind of like gone off the deep end. Anyway, Sage gets involved, comes up, and Shiva interrupts him. This is a cool set of pages, eh?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's beautiful. To get that's so difficult. I've tried drawing like snow and rain in that way before, where you actually see it or stars in the background. It's much more difficult than it seems, especially if
Mm-hmm.
it's on an all black background.
Agreed.
That's so
Yeah.
impressive. And it's a nice use of the black borders instead of, with most pages, the panels are a white background with black borders, but with an all black, this really makes it all
Well, we
sort of flow.
have a ramping up of the story tension here, right? So we are going to, it's all white background pretty much, except here, which is a violent scene. But we have like a sudden tone shift with the introduction of this character, right? Who is all of a sudden kind of an element of unpredictability and chaos in the whole thing. Um, Sage is quite arrogant about his fighting ability, and she gives him even a chance to choose his preferred style of combat. And he says, "I don't want to hurt you." And she says, "Oh, don't you?" And then proceeds to beat the ever living daylights out of him. This is still in the era of kind of Bruce Lee kung fu movies. The UFC and mixed martial arts hasn't, it's not part of the cultural vocabulary yet. So it, you can get away with like a joint lock in a street fight kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's still kind of believable. But in general, this is a good choreographed fight with, elbows, close-up shots, uh, s- s- straight, straight strikes, sweeps. There's a little bit of variety. A judo throw here. It's not. I've read about this before, and they actually did read up on martial arts and to make it fairly believable.
Being a proper artist is very underrated. The amount of research that goes into it. Sometimes I'll draw a picture 3 times before I try to go about the finished product.
Hmm. Well, a comic artist can't just be good at a number of things. He has to be good at drawing whatever is in the story. You have to be good at drawing pipes and pants and coats and people and
Yeah.
snow and guns, and you have to be good at all of
Unless you're Rob Liefeld,
it.
you just kind of get a pass somehow.
Then you just have to be good at energy.
Yeah, he's good with layouts. He's good at some of his composition's pretty impressive. It's mostly his character work and the details in it are just so impressive.
We'll definitely be looking at some Liefeld books at some point for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, they take their mighty time beating on this guy with a pipe. They're getting their revenge, and then they bring in their um, assassin baby gun, which Jeremiah Hatch calls brother gun, and he gets him close, shoots him.
That's the so many. Oh, does he fall off a bridge into water there? Yeah.
They throw him off. Yeah.
Well, he wasn't lying about how many hours he had left.
Yep. And throughout the whole thing, they keep reminding, like 10:45, 1 hour and 15 minutes left, right? It's constantly reminding the reader, I'm gonna kill this guy, you know, this guy's gonna die.
Issue
And
one.
issue one, the end.
Yeah, nice.
So this
Before
is,
I heard Kevin Smith did that with He-Man in a TV series.
oh yeah.
There was a He-Man reboot recently, and in the first episode, he kills off Skeletor and He-Man.
Hmm. That's
But
an unusual choice.
they don't come back in episode two or anything, as I'm told. It's about his anyway. Yeah, yeah, it's a bold choice for sure.
Um, well, I don't know how it went for He-Man, but in this series, we get a full 35 issue series, and it's excellent. Um,
It's a good start. It's a great um, noir feeling to it for sure.
yeah,
Everybody.
and sorry, go ahead.
That was it. No, just every single page contributes to the feeling of it, the pace, the grittiness, the grime, the darkness.
Um, yeah, and it they kind of so this came out. It was kind of like a prestige thing. They was it was charging 50 cents more or something like that, or 25 cents more. Um, so it was um, aimed at an audience who was comics conversant and might have
Yeah.
been hungry for something else. Um, so it's not biff bam pow the whole way through, right? It's actually written a little bit more literary, a little bit more like a novel. It's got a lot of moving pieces that it wants to establish.
That had never occurred to me before, but I suppose if you wanted to sell a more mature comic book to an audience that's usually pursuing laser beams and special powers, that's a lot of comic books is just to see how the powers work, and the character development comes afterwards. A good way to distinguish that is just to charge 50 cents more, and so the kids with a very fixed comic book income are probably going to skip over it, and thus you won't get the kind of feedback that you might otherwise get if those kids had picked these issues up. Because if I read something like this when I was 13, I can guarantee I would have read it twice. So I
Yeah.
wouldn't have the maturity to enjoy it.
Hmm.
So
That's a good point.
you could use an extra, hike the price up by a limited amount, and you'll actually discourage the kind of people in the same sort of way that some social medias, if you want to comment on their site, you have to somebody's account, you have to subscribe first and pay the money, and it's an automatic deterrent to just people talking smack for its own sake.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk is cheap.
Yeah,
So charge your cover price.
yeah. No, I don't know. That's what they did, but it'd be a good way to promote the right kind of audience for your book.
Well, since you talk about, paywalls and that sort of thing, we're actually going to continue this by looking through this commentary by the editor Mike Gold and comparing this with a little bit the original The Question, and try to understand the conversation that is being had with this character. And that will be for the super fans behind the Substack paywall. So the YouTube video will end now. So you'll need to check the description below and find the link to the Substack. And Substack is $2.50 a month if you follow the special discount link there, which is cheaper than any comic book on the stands now. So I'm sure that there's a comic book you're reading that you probably don't even like. You could drop and support us instead. And if you like this kind of content. And there will be a whole bunch of other links there. We got a Discord channel that we've started. There's already some people there talking about comics and stuff. There's a gentleman there who is a vault of comic trivia, and pretty much any comic artist or name or writer, he has some sort of information about it you never heard before. It's super fascinating. So go check all those things out and see you in the next one.